Is this how you repay me?
Guys, welcome to my channel. So today it is a new video and it's a tag video. I haven't done one in ages, so I thought I would give one a go. I've seen this one on a few videos recently. Froppaholic, I think that's how you say her name. I'll put everything in the description bar below. But yeah, she did a mum tag, and then I seen Mama to 5 from America do another tag, and I just loved it. The original person who did the tag was Emily Norris, so I just want to make sure I get everybody in, and I'll tag all their channels down below. They're much bigger channels than myself. But yeah, I just loved the tag. I thought it was a really interesting idea, and it's called the mum tag. So the mam, the mom, the mum. I like to be called mum. But anyway, let's get into it. Okay, so I have, it's not my phone, it's my old phone. So I've took a screenshot of it so I can get some of the questions. And the first question is my favourite mum hack. Right. Okay, this is the simplest hack of all time, and it was actually from my mother-in-law. And she said to me, and her advice was, only buy socks that are the same colour, because you never have to go look for a matching pair. And you know what? It saved my life. I bought all black socks for school and it just saved my life. Because last year, the year before, I bought all these kind of like colourful socks with little baby koalas on it, or baby giraffes, but then you can never find the matching one, and then suddenly your son's off to school with a koala and a kangaroo on the other one. So yeah, I decided to buy all black and it has been a saviour. Yes, so it's a mum hack. Use it, it's really good. Right, okay, number 2, the most embarrassing mum moment. So is this for myself or for others? For them. I think I would be a really embarrassing mum who would just show baby pictures to them when they're 18. But yeah, I don't think I have an embarrassing. They're at the stage now where they are not embarrassed by me. They love me and they want to give me kisses at the school gate. So they're still at that stage now. So they're definitely not embarrassed. Okay, then on to number 3. What part of the day do you love most when they go to school? I'm only joking. No, I love when we get back from school and we're just sitting chilling and making dinner. They're playing on the Xbox or they're playing on their phone, because they have like maybe a good hour where they can have like chill out time, and that's just nice because it's like you're making dinner and there's lots of noise and commotion. Sometimes one goes over to nanny's and has fun over there. So yeah, that's probably my most favourite time. What's the part of the day you like least? Going to school as well, which is strange, but it's really, really busy in the morning. My children are hectic, bonkers, crazy. And it's a million times, put your shoes on, put your shoes on, put your shoes on, put your shoes on. By the time of the end of it, you end up like the most raging dinosaur ever. So yeah, that's a bit irritating. And number 5, the worst thing someone said to you when you were pregnant. Oh my gosh, I remember it. I was in Yarmouth, we went to Elvis Week, and I had a massive bump. I mean, my bump was massive, but that's because my baby was like really big. So anyway, when I went in, she said something like, oh my goodness, your belly's so big. Oh, you're going to have a massive baby. Oh, and it was just really, really like that. And it's just something that you don't want to hear when you have a giant bump, because you are worrying when you're a first time mum how you're going to get it out. Like, how is that giant bump going to get out? And I know your body stretches, but still it's a worry. So if you see somebody with a giant bump, just be nice to them and say, oh, I love your bump, it's so cute. Not, that's giant, oh my gosh, your baby's massive. Because that really freaks people out. That's just my opinion. Okay, number 6, a baby name you didn't agree on. That's not the case for us. We did agreed on all the baby names, and we kind of knew exactly what we were having for baby names before we had the babies. Number 7, do you co-sleep? No, I did not co-sleep at all, not even from a baby, because I suffer really bad from sleepwalking, and have done since I was a child, a baby myself, and I wouldn't take the risk of co-sleeping with my baby. I had my cot, or the baby's cot, right beside me in bed, so I could see the baby every second of every day, and then we moved the cot into the other room, and we gradually just done it like that, and then they moved into toddler beds. So my children would never sleep in our beds ever. They just would never do it because they like their own space now, and they're very similar to me in that way. So both of them like their own bed. Number 8, something you bought but never used. Oh my word, there's probably loads. When you're having your first baby, you buy tons of stuff and you never ever use it. So yeah, probably lots. I think a whole pram, part of a pram I didn't use, like the lie down part. I never ever used that, but there's probably loads more, just tons more. Number 9, 3 hospital bag must-haves. Oh my goodness, what would it be? Right, okay, so the baby's first outfit, you really want to have that. Some nipple pads because you're going to be leaking major. And I took some sanitary pads as well, and really heavy going, because when it happens and you need down there, sometimes you don't want to ask, so I would have that. But yeah, there are 3 things that were definitely, change of clothes for yourself. These are over the 3 items now. But when you have the baby, you want something comfortable, so maybe a pair of leggings, a pair of slippers, something like that. Maybe a snack that the next day, if your husband's away and the baby's there but you don't want to leave, you can't ask anyone, a quick snack. Oh, I've got it in my hospital bag. So yeah, I would do something like that. Number 10, are you routine mum or go with the flow mum, and what does bedtime look like? Right, when I first had my babies, I was routine mum all the way. Everything came with a routine. If my baby was napping, then, so I think Eddie was invited to a birthday party, but it was his nap time, so I didn't let him go. And I was criticised quite heavily for that, but in actual fact I thought his sleep was worth more than that birthday party that he wouldn't remember. And he was a baby, so yeah, I always put their routine first before any kind of other thing. Bedtimes look like they go at 8 o'clock and they'll sit and chat and talk. Sometimes we have to tell them off, but they'll generally get to sleep about 8, half 8, sometimes earlier than that. And that's because we had a firm set of ground rules from birth that their bed was their bed. They don't come into our bed. And this routine is, this is when you go to sleep, and that's it. So yeah, they pretty much stick to it. But I am kind of like a routine mum at the start. Now I'm not a routine mum at all. Kind of go with the flow, but bedtime is kind of fluid, but it's generally anywhere between 7:30 and 9. Okay, number 11. What type of labour did you have? What pain relief did you choose? So the labour for Eddie, which is my firstborn, was a natural birth, and I wanted a natural birth. It started like ages before. I kind of had like this fluid loss, but they said it wasn't anything. And then more fluid came out when I was on the chair in my house, and my husband took me to the hospital. We went to the hospital, and I'd actually lost my backwaters 4 days before, and I was 4 centimetres dilated, which I didn't know because I had only back pain. It was just a bit of back pain, but I always had back pain because Eddie was back to back. So yeah, then they said, right, your backwaters or your backwaters were broken myself, so they were just leaking. So then they said, right, we're going to take you up because you're 4 centimetres dilated. We're going to break your waters now. So they broke my waters, and it was a gush, and then it started. That was it. And it was really, I was able to take the pain quite easily until about 9 centimetres. And that was really late at night. It started getting really bad. So I asked for an epidural, which had been in my plan anyway, because I always wanted an epidural. I got the epidural. Plain sailing. It was fantastic. It was absolutely wonderful. I loved it more than life. It was just so peaceful. I was like watching my belly go up and down as with the contractions. I loved it. I would never do it any other way. So yeah, I had the epidural, but obviously epidurals can slow down your labour. I did a little bit. We got to 10 hours. I was completely dilated, ready to push. I pushed for 2 hours and nothing happened. And they were getting a bit freaked out, so they were like, right, we need to get this baby out. We think he might be bigger than we thought he was going to be. So, and I just wasn't pushing him out right because he was my first child. So they took me to the surgery and they gave me a full spinal then. So I couldn't feel anything from here down. Whereas in the epidural, it's only your legs you don't feel. The rest you can kind of feel, but I was out then. And oh, it was terrible because I was shivering and I had a real reaction to it. I was like shivering and shaking, going to sleep, coming out of sleep. It's horrible. And then they had to get their forceps and pull Eddie out. Now, he was 10 pounds 11 ounces, so nearly 11 pounds. So he's a massive baby. I didn't have diabetes or anything like that. He's just a really big baby. And the doctor pulled him out, but when they pulled him out, they tore around my cervix in 3 places. So I lost a ton of blood. I think I lost 2 litres of blood, and my husband said there was a pool of blood all over, and they kept writing on the board how much more blood had come out, and it was just absolutely awful. But Eddie got taken out, and he was fabulous. He got handed to die. He had needed no intervention whatsoever. He was just like away with him, holding him, feeling great. And then I can't remember much after that. I was kind of like in and out of consciousness, and then they took me to high dependency, and that's where I stayed for like 3 days, because they had to put packs into my cervix. So your cervix is here, they had to pack it to stop the blood from coming out, which I didn't know they had to do because I was completely out of it. So when they came 3 days later to take the packs out, I was like, what's up there? And it was honestly like a magician pulling out of a hat like this. Like when they take out the flags. This was me taking out these packs. Oh, it was terrible. So anyway, in high dependency, I had Eddie with me, which I thought was terrible and so wrong. But I guess the bond they want. But I was holding him while I felt like I was dying. So I was just terrified, and he was right beside me. I had to ask a few times, can you please come and help me change his bum? Because I can't get up. It was really bad. I didn't like it. But anyway, it's in high dependency for 3 days or something. Then I got moved to a room for 2 days, and the midwife took Eddie in the night so I could sleep for the first time. And then we went to a normal ward, and they offered me a blood transfusion at that point, as I was really weak and terrible. But I declined the blood transfusion. I didn't want it. So I got to go home, and I remember I couldn't walk up my stairs because I was that lacking in energy. Obviously the blood transfusion would have helped, but then I would never have been able to donate blood. There's loads of little stipulations for it, and I could have got over it myself, and I did. So yeah, all in all, that birth was quite traumatic. And I also had a episiotomy. Can't remember, where you have a cut from your lady bits to your bottom. So I had that, and that got really infected like a week later when I was in Wales. I had to go down to the hospital, and it got really infected really bad. So that was terrible. Yeah, there was a lot going on in Eddie's birth. On Garen's birth, because I had a large baby, I had to do a diabetes check. I wasn't diabetic, because you can have diabetes just in your pregnancy. So they said, you might have a big baby again, he's measuring on the big side, let's get you induced a week early. So they induced me a week early before my due date. I think he was due on the 13th, and he came on the 10th, but I'd been induced like 2 days before that, and he came along at 9:07. When they induced me for a whole day, nothing happened, and then suddenly I went, oh, I'm getting a bit of niggles here. They checked, I was 4 centimetres. I was like, oh yeah, I got a niggle. They went, we'll go for a walk, it's going to be hours. So I walked down to the end of the corridor, back, and I said to die, and had a panic attack, because I was like, something's going to happen. Ran to the toilet, because I thought I was going to poo. But it wasn't, it's pressure, so you think you're going to poo, but you're not going to poo. It's a baby you're going to poo out. So anyway, they checked me, and I was 9 centimetres already within 10 minutes. And then I was ready to push, and out he came like a fast whippet. I had an epidural as well, which they were not supposed to give me, but my panic attack was so huge because I thought he was going to get stuck like Eddie was get stuck. And then I was worried about spinal, and because that first birth was so terrible and traumatic with the cervix and everything, I kind of freaked out. They gave me an epidural, but he came out beautiful, and they didn't give me the full whack, and I felt it coming out. I felt him opening, I felt the head coming out, and it was just a truly wonderful feeling. When I got home, I was moving the furniture around day after. It was so easy. And then number 12, have you ever been mum shamed? No, I don't think so. I don't even know what mum shamed is. Shamed if you're, so like you have mums who work and mums who don't work, and then so the ones who work don't want to work, the ones who don't want to work, and so they slag each other off. But no, I haven't had that. I do what's right for me and my children, and that's it. And if people don't like what I'm doing for me and my children, then that's okay too. As I don't pass judgment on others, so I don't really listen to judgment from anybody else. And number 13, the biggest challenges you've faced since becoming a mum. I think it's like the fear you have, and it's called the fear, and it is the fear. you're born, when they're born, you have the fear. So if they're out of your sight for 2 seconds, you got this panic feeling. Or if they're in Asda and they run in front of you, I do that. If they're near water, God, the fear is intense. It's like, come away, come away. I am a real panicker and a worrier. If they're doing anything that I think there might be danger in, I panic and give them the fright of their life. If they're near the road, I'm shouting at them constantly. And there's no nice fun with me. And number 14, the best advice you've ever been given. Biggest piece of advice you'd give a new mum. I can't think of any advice that I was given, apart from the socks. That's a big piece. But a piece of advice I'd give to a mum is just be you and only you. But from millions of examples, there's so many people who know things and they want to tell you what's right. But only do what you think. What you think is the gut reaction in you, then just go with it. Because you generally will be right when it's because you'll have your child's best interests at heart, their safety. You will know how it's going to work because you're the one that's the caregiver. So yeah, that would be the biggest advice I would do, is don't listen to others if they're telling you something and making you feel guilty, because that might just be their idea. Your idea is the most important. Okay, and number 15 is, who is your mum crush and who do you tag? I think my mum crush would be my mother-in-law, because she is the best mum I've ever seen apart from my own mum. Because she's just a wonderful person who's kind and caring and always listens and is always there, and dependable, and I love that. I think that's fantastic. So yeah, that would be my mum crush. So to tag people, I'm going to tag everybody who's a mum. If you want to do it, I'd absolutely love to see your tag. Tag me in it so that I can see your video when you make it, and that would be fab. Alright, so thanks for joining me on this. Really enjoyed making it, and I'll see you on another one.
My channel, comment below, press the bell button, thumbs up, thank you.